Have you washed your hands? Right, 3, 2, 1, and we are live.
We are live, back in the studio.
Right. Yeah, Charles is freshly. What? No, I'll leave that. Actually, no. How are you? Are you right, Charles? You getting better?
Kind of.
Straight in.
Are you fully better?
No, in fact, I got a bit worse. So I might have to go to
really?
Doctors. It's just not getting any better, to be honest. So
you're in pain still?
Yeah.
Oh fucking hell.
Discomfort and pain. Yeah.
Are you taking anything?
No, not well.
Apple cider vinegar.
No, just no, not really. No, not really taking anything. I don't know. Yeah, I just need to go to the doctors
again.
Yes, we know this, Charles. We know this.
Well, I feel a bit more confident now because I've been sort of putting it off because of Corona and all that stuff. Yeah. But now the pubs are open. Fuck it. I think I'm allowed to go to the doctors again. You know.
Yeah.
So talking of, the pubs have opened in England.
Good segue there. Yeah.
Oh, it's like we planned it.
So stories. Right. So I don't know. I haven't got a bloody clue. I didn't go out till about 1 o'clock in the morning last night. So I don't really know what people were doing. So how have people been doing what?
So from what I gather, I haven't been to the pub at all, but just again, like from what I mean, because I walked through a town where I live, Sutton, and there were signs on a few pubs saying we're open. This is the deal.
Do people have pubs overseas? Like America and Africa? And
yeah. You mean as in like British style pubs?
Yeah. Or do they have bars, or is there a pub? Like, is there a?
It's more bars, isn't it, than the terminology. Yeah, they don't have. I mean, there's very much like, this is a British style pub. This is an Irish style pub.
Irish pub,
means
lots
it's
of
green
Irish
and
pubs.
got Guinness. Like New York is just tons of Irish.
Yeah.
Well, they still call them bars, but they're sort of styled like a pub.
Oh, like
there's tons of Irish pubs and stuff. There are Irish pubs, but they don't have the same feel. A British pub is a fairly unique, just for its kind of feel. To be honest, most places abroad they do have bars or
especially places like Spain. It's where English people go and eat and drink English food overseas.
Yeah, it's very. My housemate, his parents moved to Spain, but they very much. Because they love Spain. I mean, they wanted the nice weather. Yeah. They wanted somewhere that they're close enough, somewhere with lovely hot weather, close enough that they can come back and see family. It's not like, we've moved to Hawaii and we can come once a year. They can come a couple of times a year back. But they, Farrell's father speaks pretty damn good Spanish. Yeah. His mum is kind of getting there, but his dad speaks really good Spanish, like with the accent and everything, like he can get by. They all the Spanish places, they don't live in the these great. They showed me, like, we were driving because I went and went and stayed with them last year, and they showed me like these enclaves, and I'm like, God, that looks like Camp Bastion in Afghanistan, where it's just like walled, and they said like they stayed there while they were waiting for their house. They lived there, sorry, I beg your pardon, while they were waiting for their house to be built. But they just said it's like, it's just little, they said it's Little Britain. It's that Benidorm thing of like everyone's eating ham, egg and chips. It's just
only
bars,
fools and horses on the TV.
Yeah, very much so. And it was just, really, they said it was very strange. And so, they like, when they go to the restaurants, they want to eat, they're like, why do we want to come to Spain? And eat egg and chips. We'll have, no thanks. We'll have the squid. We'll have this. We'll have that. We'll have paella. They make paella. They make all the, Spanish dishes, omelets and things. And it's just like, what's the point?
For people overseas, if they don't know, a pub is where English people go to drink and fight.
Basically, if you've watched The Empire Strikes Back, and there's that hollowed out tree that Luke has to go into, and Yoda tells him that it's you feel cold and death, and the only thing that's in there is what you take with you. That's a British pub.
Okay, right. So the pubs opened up again yesterday. So what's been going on?
Well, you have to order from an app, which I don't. I'm like, really? Like the skanky old man pubs are going to have an app? Like Wetherspoons has an app.
Yeah, do they? I don't know if they all do. So I think some of them are doing table waiting.
Yeah,
so
very much. Yeah, you can't go to the bar to get your drinks anymore.
Yeah.
In any pub?
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Really? But what if you're like an old fella with a fag and a dog? You just sat there.
Well, you can't be in there anyway. You can't be in there anyway smoking.
Most places can't smoke. Well, you can't smoke anywhere, and you probably can't take a dog.
But I mean,
but
some people don't know about apps. If like these old boys that go,
I'm sure it'll be table service. I'm sure they would try to encourage people to download the app. But if you're if you're a granny or a grandma or whatever, or if you're Theo and you don't want the government tracking you by your booze order app, then
I'll have to set up a secondary app. I'll have on
Leo's phone.
What did we write in the pilot? Well, that was the app.
Oh, yeah.
For a restaurant, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were quite prescient there. Like we were.
No,
That's
we
true.
were, yeah.
I've been to plenty of places. I'm like, what? I have to like, or you tap this and you thing, or you take those buzzers that tell you to go get your food, and you're like, well, what's the waiting stuff here for?
So what's been going on? Did everybody pile into the pubs then?
From what I gather, yeah.
Kind of. They made a big deal about it. During the day, I watched lots of live updates of disappointed-looking news presenters standing in basically empty pubs at about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, going, "Well, there's a few people here, but we're expecting it to get really busy later. Always going to be carnage soon. Honest, something's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen soon. Just tune, keep watching. We're
trying to convince this guy. We've given him 20 quid, but he wants 50 to cause a fight.
He said he'll down 5 pints and kick off. So they were kind of a bit disappointed in the afternoons, it seemed. But then, like, I looked at some of the pictures in the papers, and it was crammed. Like Soho was crammed, and central Manchester was absolutely rammed. You know what I mean? It was like New Year's Eve kind of thing. It was just the roads were packed to people. So
I did trying to serve that. Like at the bar, it's one thing because you're just turning around and giving the drink, turning around and giving the drink. If you've got to bring drinks to people through an app, that's got to be a lot of grief.
Yeah, well, I think you're only allowed, from what I gather as well, you're only allowed to, this is again like when the three of us talk about like, what's it like being a young black woman? And we're like, none of us went out last night, so we've no idea. But from what I gather, I think you were only allowed a certain amount of time in a pub. Like you had to book and then only be a certain amount of time. I don't know if that's true everywhere. I think certainly in Brighton, that was the case that based on what I've seen from friends on social media who still live there, that, you'd have to book like a 2-hour slot and that was it.
Okay.
What?
It's almost like a restaurant kind of thing.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Because you can't hang around too long after your meal. You know what I mean? You have a de facto time limit with a meal. Once you've finished, I mean, if you have 3 or 4 courses, once you've finished.
But that's not catering.
Rush.
That's all right for Mr. and Mrs. Middle Class in South Kensington, where that's not going to work in Soho so I think something else is going to end up popping up if that stays the way that is, with people booking 2-hour slots and all that. I think something else is going to pop up somewhere where people do want to cram, so like outdoor things or something.
There'll be lots of things, like they'll probably relax maybe in parks. They'll be like, here's a van with beer kind of thing. Yeah, they'll relax the public drinking laws, because some parks you can drink in. It depends on the borough, doesn't it? Some boroughs of London you can drink in the street, and some you can't.
Yeah. So some it's like £1,000 fine instantly.
Yeah, and
then others.
But you don't know. You cross the street and you're in a different borough of London. Carrying the same beer that was fine, and then
right. Did you go out for a drink, Charles?
No, I didn't. I was going to say I did have a chat with the manager of a pub round me the other week, and she seemed still very confused about the policies and how they were going to. She was like, again, we haven't had really any details. It's a common story. Everyone said we haven't really had any details about what's going to happen, about what we're supposed to do, or how we are supposed to, if it's going to be 2 meters or 1 meter, and how what the requirements are, and then how we're supposed to keep those requirements. So she seemed. I mean, a week before it was supposed to open, she was still like, I'm not really sure what to do. So they'd instituted their own policies, and they were going to do table service and they were separating the tables out, and I don't think they were doing limited times, but they didn't know whether, they said it's either going to be really busy or completely empty, and we don't know really. It seemed very, they didn't really know. I was like, I suspect it's going to be busy. And she's like, well, I don't know, because people are going to be put off and that. So
all they really can do is just say, right, here's a queue, here's the line, keep apart and keep the tables apart. That's it. Queue here, these are tables, the tables are far apart. That's it. No standing at the bar. The thing, because they can't really, I think you've only got 1 meter outside your own premise, haven't you? You own 1 meter in the street. So I think
usually,
you can't really put that many tables out if you're not that big. Garden.
They seem to be. I don't know whether they relaxed that, but they seem to have a lot of seating. They showed some places in London. And they had lots of seats outside and on the pavements.
But then you can't take the drinks onto the pavement, so that's another thing, isn't it? So you can't buy the drink and come out. You might as well just meet people, buy drinks in an off license, and then sit on a wall near a pub. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Just go to the pub and go around each other. They're allowed. You're allowed to mingle households, aren't you? It's just you're not meant to stay over or something.
Oh, for
I don't
God's
know.
sake, just.
I think you just take your own judgment. You know, I stayed at my girlfriend's house last night, but that's the only house I've been going to.
You had an anecdote about a newsagent.
Oh, I did, yeah. I was coming back. So I've been trying to like spread out my shopping. I'll do a little bit in the supermarket, a little bit on the greengrocers, and a little bit, you know, if that's even the correct word, and then newsagents. And I'm like,
greengrocers.
I know. I'm like,
20 years.
Where do I live? Like, and then I was walking up the hill with my Hovis bread under my arm. Anyway, so I went into the newsagents. First time because for the greengrocers, I had to withdraw cash. And I was like, I've forgotten how to do this. How does this even work? Because everything's been contactless for A, I haven't been out of my house hardly. And then B, it's, you know, everyone's like contactless only from now on. So I withdrew some money. I was like, I'll pop into the newsagent, bung him a couple of quid, you know, just buy whatever, just a drink or something. And so I had the note in my wallet and I said, oh, is cash okay? He said, yeah, that's fine. And then I was like,
how much is one of these worth?
Yeah, I was like, what do I do now? And so I just held open my wallet to allow him to take the note.
So you're like a foreigner. You were like a foreigner.
Yeah. Well, there's only the one note in it, so I thought like, oh, it's all right. I trust him not to like take two tens and pretend he took one. And he kind of chuckled about it, but he said thank you, and then gave me a change and everything. It was fine. But he told me that he said like, oh, you know, compared with what you did there earlier, someone today came in, wanted to buy something, and had was like sorting through their wallet and couldn't find. They were like had the note out ready, but couldn't find the coins. So to hold on to the note while they looked, you know, put the note in their mouth and then like started sorting for the coins. And it's just, even if we're not in a pandemic, that's just like,
even then,
you know,
money's dirty. Money is really dirty, and it goes through multiple hands. It really is like some countries. I mean, when it was like India and stuff, the money was horribly dirty, and like you have to wash your hands when you touch it. Yeah?
They warn you, don't they? I think my parents went to Egypt. I've not been, but they went to Egypt, and they said like they warn you, wash your hands all the time. Anytime you touch money, don't touch your face. Don't do this. Like you have to wash your hands every time you touch money, basically. And they said like if you're in the market handing out loads of money, your hands will be filthy.
Do you know how much you must be raking it in now if you got the antibacterial company? Like you must be like your profits went from like things costing 50p a pound to like 4 quid, 8 quid, just like quadrupled. God, you got. I mean, I don't know. You could get into it now, even really, just set up your own company and start pumping them out. Because I don't think it's going to come back from this. I think it's going to, for a couple of years at least, it's going to stay this way with the washing and the queuing and whatnot.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a good thing. I'm just like, the amount of dirty people, gross dirty people on the tubes at the best of times.
But it's the fact that the amount of people, it doesn't work. You've got to, something's got to change. Do you know what I mean? Systems have to be different. Trains even, how are you going to get around that in rush hour? And how are you going to go back to that? You can't.
Yeah.
I think the only thing they can do is wait for a cure. And then people will go
a vaccine, isn't it? Is what they're working with.
Yeah, I mean, until there's medicine, until there's some kind of medical treatment for it, then vaccine or whatever, then this is kind of going to be the new norm for probably at least a year, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be funny. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, because it's the thing to do. You know, there's all this talk about like, but why isn't Japan had this back? It's like because they wear masks on the train all the time anyway. So it doesn't matter. They're like wearing masks is de rigueur. They're also, the people there have like a much more sense of social conscience and and also just they're sensible. Like a friend of mine, I think I've said this before on the podcast, like a friend of mine, I was like, oh, how bad is it in Japan? You know, because it's close to the epicenter. And I think they did have quite a big spike early on, and obviously enormously dense, you know, population density. Everyone's very old. So you think like, fucking hell, that's the perfect storm. She was like, no, because people didn't go out in droves. People keep distance anyway.
So that might be the thing. It might be the mentality of people. It's just going to have to shift. It's just going to have to move. You can't be in people's faces anymore. That's just gone now.
Yeah.
Have you got any nights out planned or anything? Any events planned or anything? Nothing?
No, I'm not doing it for ages. I'm just like, I don't need a pint. Like I didn't understand everyone desperate, because there's been all sorts of things of people saying, oh, we need this because it's for our mental health. You know, for example, gyms saying their mental health and fitness, and I know I agree with that. But it's like, oh, what, for your mental health, you need to go out and drink your body weight in depressants.
It's funny that the pub opened up before the gyms.
Yeah, exactly. But that tells you everything about
Britain. I think cinemas are open now. I mean, and gyms aren't. I mean, that is...
Yeah, I mean, cinemas, you've got to be a couple of seats apart. it's sort of you're not crammed in the way a pub could be.
I just think anywhere with air conditioning, anywhere where it's recycling the air, like you're going to get it. Basically, if you're in a confined room with someone who has it, you're probably going to get it.
Yeah,
like 90% chance. If you're in a smallish room with someone who definitely has it, you're probably going to get it. Or you're probably going to give it.
Well, they said the gyms are opening up in the next couple of weeks, so that they're opening back up.
Yeah, but I think have masks. The people I feel sorry for is going to be all the trainers, all the PTs, all the guys, like, you know, because they're just going to be, for most of the people. I mean, I would, you know, for example, bodybuilders, people who like properly insert thing, they're probably going to be the most safe and respectful and decent people about it, because their whole
thing,
don't
want to get sick. They don't.
They don't want to get sick, but their whole thing is about fitness. But the whole thing is about, you know, there's the stereotype of the meathead of the bodybuilder, and actually that's totally not what it is. And I think they're going to be the ones wearing the masks and everything like that, and it's going to be the casual gym goers who are going to be like
3 mates that have turned up, 3 kids
to take
selfies,
selfies and all that shit, who aren't going to be in the mask, going to be annoying the trainers, are going to be like, you know.
I thought I heard that they can do personal training, but they can't.
Well, you just wear masks. I know personal trainers.
No, I mean now.
I know. Oh,
I was going to say, I saw a gym, an outdoor gym, or the back of a gym, and a guy was training a couple of people, so that you can train.
Yeah, outdoor. They said
outdoor,
for a while.
Yeah,
even since the lockdown, they said like outdoor gyms are fine in parks, as long as you're adhering to social distancing, because it's the whole exercise thing, isn't it? That you
maybe they will do like booking. You have to book to go in.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of that. I think there'll be a lot of that. Like, you'll have to book. Maybe you'll have to book specific areas. So if you just like, they'll say, right, you can only do cardio today. You can only be in the weight bit. You know, you can't be milling about. And they've got one of those what's it called? Those imaginatively titled The Gyms near me, and it's got the corner bit for all the weights, and then everything else is kind of cardio bit. And I'm sure otherwise you've got to cross the whole floor and walk past everyone.
There's so many people that go to gyms. I mean, again, I mean, maybe just the society will just buckle under the weight and things will change. There will be more gyms with less people. There'll be more cinemas with less people, more bars, tables.
The business model will change.
Which will be a good thing in the end. If you're not all crammed into a cinema or crammed into a pub, you're just going to go tough. Those days are gone now. Those 50 people at the bar, that's over. That's gone. Now it's a certain amount of people per pub and a certain amount of tables. That's it.
That'd be quite nice. I'm quite, because I'm like, I just like, why am I queuing 30 minutes to get a drink? Like, what is your business model here? Of like, surely your thing is to serve as many people as often as possible. But it's just like, you're acting like you're doing me a favor by pouring me a pint. Or even sliding the little tray across with the coins.
The staff.
That's in all these places though. The gym, that's what I'm saying. Like, the trainers are going to be like having dirty, sweaty people breathing right in their faces, or asking for like, oh, can we do some sparring? No.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Facing each other. Funny enough, I don't want to do that.
I've got a friend who works in a clothes shop, high street clothes shop, and
tell us which one's Charles.
All right, next. He works in Next.
I love that you broke immediately.
Tell us now.
All right, Next. Great place. No, it's terrible. It was voted a couple of years in a row as being one of the worst. No, sorry, the worst employee in the country.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Terrible. Really
I used to work there years ago, though.
Oh, okay.
But it was quite nice when I worked there, but I could see it gradually. And I talk to people who still work there now, and they're like, oh, it's not. It's not. Yeah.
They've been screwing around with his contract, messing around with hours and stuff.
Yeah. I think they tried to shift as many people over to, these sort of short term, 3-month contract, 6-month contract, all kind of things like that. I just think.
So what happened?
Yeah,
and trying to get people doing short shifts as well, like 3-hour shifts.
Oh, come on.
It's just like, why don't you bother turning up? It's not even
0 hours and apprentices, all that kind of thing.
It's not even worth the train fare there, to be honest. By the time you bought a sandwich and got the train fare, it's just like, well, haven't paid for it anyway. But he was saying that he's only been back about however long, 2 weeks now, and he's getting sick of he has to wear a visor and all this stuff. I think he has to wear gloves and sanitize.
I suppose because you have to hear. I was like, why a visor? But I suppose you need.
I've seen visors popping up now,
rather than a mask.
But this is what the pubs and bars seem to be doing as well. Is because it muffles you. You sound like Bane, doesn't it? If you're covering your mouth. So like,
Theo's fine with that though,
and it's a bit and it puts people off more. I think a visor's more open and less
Imagine if
scary.
it just got really bad, and we all did have like an air tank on the back and just a full fucking thing.
Yeah.
And that's just what happened.
Or we're all like Immortan Joe from Mad Max Fury Road. You know,
I watched I watched Mad Max 2 last night, and I was like, oh, this is okay. This is what next month is going to be like. Then, okay, interesting.
It might ruin our scene if we don't get the pilot out quick enough. It might better go. Yeah, what's so weird about that? Obviously, apps. You know. Oh, hang on. Nobody knows what we're talking about.
No, but they will say, why isn't everyone wearing a mask? Because I'm already like that. Like if I see something like on TV, they have to preface lots of stuff saying this was filmed before the lockdown and before social distancing rules. And like
QI. Yes, I saw that on QI. They said like Sandy Toksvig did like a little walkthrough interview saying, "Oh, I can't even hug the crew, and it's just us here. There's no audience and stuff like that." It's like, oh, because QI has to apologise, which is such a weird.
No, but it was something because they had these soldiers that they had some soldier was wounded. And like lots of the guys came. He lost a leg or something, and lots of his mates came and saw him in hospital, and they were all coming. There was a big line of them, all coming and giving him a hug and stuff. And like they had to preface that saying, "Don't freak out. This was like February, yeah." And it was weird. And I have to say, I reacted. I was like, oh, they're not social distancing. You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird how quick that has become a social norm. You know what I mean?
So what about like police and that? Have they been wearing masks out and about? I haven't really seen them.
I haven't been far enough to see police, I don't think.
No, they weren't. I noticed they have been more recently. But I noticed for the first couple of months when I was out and about, just in my village or whatever, and like when I saw them on TV, no masks. When they were telling people why you on a park bench, when they were being strict, no one was wearing a mask. But like now things have relaxed, they kind of have.
But I suppose you have to be so clear being a policeman explaining. Otherwise they'll be like, oh, he didn't hear his rights because you had a mask on.
You got to set an example though. You know what I mean?
I know it's an odd balance, isn't it? But the idea is that if the other person is wearing a mask, then if the people they're talking to and giving a telling off to are wearing a mask, then there's a bit more safety, isn't there? It's just like,
what? What did you say? No, what did you say? No, for fuck's sake, just.
And that's how,
I mean, have you both worn masks when you've been out at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really go out around people, so I've gone to the twilight hours. So
it's dark. It's
my coffee,
once you've just sustained yourself in your native soil, you awaken at 1 a.m.
Well, so I went to Ikea last week. Fuck me. I fucking hate Ikea. Ikea's like...
It's awful.
Why'd you go then?
Because I had to buy a bookcase or something. I
had to buy a new bed for the butler.
Have you heard of the internet?
Yeah. Just order it, Charles.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be like a quick in and out, and then they closed off. Literally, we wanted to get...
I left it, you leave it.
There.
I could see you laughing.
We walked into the entrance. We wanted to get there, and it was like 3 meters to get to the bit we wanted. And like they were like, no, it's one-way system. You've got to go all the way around.
You've got to go past 1,000 other items to get back out again.
I'm not kidding. We were walking for over 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like in circles. I was absolutely fuming, and like no one was wearing masks. Everyone was bumping into me and stuff. And I was just like lit because I was like, because there was a girl there, and I was like, I get it. It's one-way system, but I was like, I just want to get the thing literally behind you.
Yes,
literally behind you, and like I walked miles. Like I walked
next thing you're testing
pace.
mattresses to go. Well, this isn't too bad. What's the discount on this one?
Oh my!
Get some of the meatballs in the canteen.
Yeah, you come out with like fucking loads of stuff. You go, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
I wanted a packet of screws.
Got a Jedi mind tricked by Ikea.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Did you at least get the bookcase?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh, you do.
And it was about 35 quid, so it wasn't too bad.
Oh, you saved some money.
Oh, yes,
you didn't pick anything else up on the way along?
No, I was very adamant not to.
On purpose.
Not a little bed.
I'm going to throw my wallet back into the car and walk round. So this is pointless for both of us.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. I remember every time I've been to Ikea because it's like a hellish experience. It's just like it's like my kryptonite. There's a couple of like the Tube and the Ikea. Those are places that sap my energy. Like it's literally like kryptonite. It's just like I just lose all my power and I'm like wilting and then I can't fly. So,
did you meet any weirdos in IKEA? Anyone trying to skin you alive or anything like that?
No. It was a very dull experience. No one was wearing masks. None. It was only the kind of dare I say it, the let's say the BAME families who were wearing masks.
What's the BAME family?
All the white
This
families
is interesting.
weren't.
This came up. I was talking with a friend about this BAME. So that means Black, Asian, and minority ethnic, which is it's very much an arts industry kind of phrase, and it basically just means non-white.
So this is like another LBGT thing.
No, because that's different. I would say that LGBT is actually more inclusive. LGBTQ, I believe it's now is, but LGBT was always a much more broader term, whereas BAME.
What's Q?
I think Q means queer.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, queer. I mean, I don't. The honest answer is I don't know. Not being a member or not being under any of those categories, but I believe queer is for because some people
a little bit odd.
Well, no. Well, obviously that's what the old term meant for it. But it. I mean, we could always Google it.
It's like gender queer, isn't it? Isn't queer gender?
You got gay, so they're not gay.
Delineation or whatever.
I think it's because it's to do with like, I don't want to be characterized as based on my gender and sexuality. So gay is often seen to be men. Again, you're asking us. You're asking two straight men why people choose queer. Why do some people prefer queer? Is the thing. This would help when we have our Twitter.
What does the Q in LGBTQ?
I'm sure it's queer, but I don't know.
Yes, it is. But how is that defined within that? You know what I mean? Because I understand queer as being a term for homosexual or whatever. So, but
then you got gay in there. So
yes. But what's the difference?
Are you sure it's queer? Are you sure it's not something else? Another word?
I'm pretty certain it is queer. Yeah. As I said, I've heard it used as a gender identification. So as a separate thing. You got to recomplicate.
I know. I'm just trying
to quick. Make sense of it all.
This is from someone, a gentleman called Daniel Reynolds, who's a social. I'm just reading from something called them.us. The article is "What does queer mean?" It's just asking people differently. So queer. This is Daniel. Queer is a great umbrella word for a wide variety of people across a spectrum of sexual orientations and gender identities. So Daniel says, I love the inclusivity of the term, but for myself, I prefer gay for its specificity. Okay, so I suppose the idea is that gay is
LGBTQ. It means that.
So queer, I suppose, is almost is in and of itself. It's
so it shouldn't be on the list of the LGBT.
Well, I guess the idea is it's trying to be as inclusive as it's.
Just have the Q list.
Is it Hendiades, where it's the word is the meaning of the whole, where part of it is the meaning of the whole? One part of it. So, for example, when you say suits to mean lawyers, that's Hendiades. Anyway, never mind.
But it means a group of people.
I think it's Hendiades, but I could be wrong.
It's super confusing me now.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought I had a grip on the world slightly, and then it's going to lose.
Not even sure that Hendiades is the right word.
So the queer means everybody in the LGBTQ.
So I suppose it's the idea that some people prefer certain terms. For example, I know some women prefer to just say I'm a gay woman, whereas some women prefer the specificity of lesbian, and then and vice versa.
But who's fighting for the Q letter to be in there? That makes no sense.
Well, I don't know. I guess.
And what was the other one? BAM, black and
black. So that is Black, Asian, minority ethnic, which basically means non-white. So it's often used in arts. It will say like, "Oh, we're especially interested in candidates from the BAME community." Oh, actually, you will see on employment things as well as the arts. Where
it's more of a corporate term. Let's say.
Yeah, and it just means non-white, and you're like, well, but as people point out, what does Asian mean?
Yeah, I mean Chinese. You're talking South Asian.
Because you've got there's.
That's almost more offensive than just saying nothing. Which Asian are you talking about?
Yeah, just say It's just and it's also like, well, what I always thought it was black and minority ethnic, and then someone said no, it's Black, Asian, minority ethnic. I'm like, oh fucking hell! Like, just what is the? Yeah. It's almost like because it's weird like. So it's black people, Asian people, which can be, as you say, East Asians, South Asians, Southeast Asians. I mean, Russia is in Asia.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we tend.
Turkey
It's weird.
is in Asia.
It's weird because we tend to mean different things, don't we? Because
exactly.
I think when most people use Asian in this country, we tend to sort of talk about Indian and Pakistani people, but like in America, they will tend to mean sort of more Chinese or Southeast Asian. So.
But why do we need these labels on things, like in forms and things? Why does it matter? Just your person.
I think if you're going to do a list, do as comprehensive a list as you possibly can, which I quite often see. So it'll be like British, Irish, British mixed, British Caribbean, black Caribbean. No. Just do either. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't personally. The best box to tick is prefer not to say, or does it? Why does it matter?
Yeah.
That's only because the employer is trying to look like they are matching quotas and being good. It's like, well, just be good, but again, you have to police goodness. You have to police decency and say, can you please stop being a piece of shit and excluding black people?
But,
can you please stop being a piece of shit and excluding women?
They don't have RULBTQB.
Some things fall.
That's not.
No, some things fall. They call it equal
forms.
opportunities monitoring. So it's not to say we only want to do it. It's just to say that, this job, it's all for survey purposes. I mean, for example, with the BBC, obviously the pilot we submitted to an email, but if you submit through what they call their writer's room windows, so they'll say, in these 6 months, we'll accept some drama scripts. You're asked to put in equal opportunities forms.
Yeah.
And in fact, so for their job applications, in fact, quite a few job applications, it's just, they call it equal opportunities monitoring. I think basically, so if someone does an audit and says, do you hire, what's your
All right, so it's them trying to keep up a certain amount.
It's just covering their back and trying to look good.
Well, when you're a big enough company, you have to, if you employ over a certain amount of people, then you have to sort of abide by.
Once you've got a HR department, basically, you need to.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if you're big enough to have an HR.
A complaints department, now you need to.
You're worried about getting called out on Twitter for the fact that you're.
Yeah, let's go off this shaky ground because we're sort of guessing and sort of firing.
Well, but again, as someone who is from, or whose family is from the BAME bracket, I'm always like, what? I'm like Asian, but I'm like, well, what does that mean? Do I tick fucking it? If I tick Asian, if someone says to me, what's your mix? Mix, because I'm, if there's a mixed other, I might tick that, but normally I just go British because I'm like, no one fucking knows.
Yeah, I wouldn't class you as a BAME.
But you know what I mean. But like, people ask me, oh, where are your parents from? And I go, well, mother's court. The funniest thing is always people say, oh, where are you from? Where are your parents? Where are you from? And I'm like, England. And they go, oh, but I mean, where your family, your parents? I'm like, oh, well, mother's quarter Chinese and dad's English and that's it really. Everyone, so it's not really much of a mix, is it? Well, you fucking asked me. I didn't. I
said British to start with.
I said I didn't even bring it up at all. I don't say to people, "Oh, where are you from?"
But you don't say my mum's quarter something, do you? You just say where's your mum?
I say I say my mother's half Chinese because she is, I guess. But again, like I don't, she doesn't identify really as a Chinese person. She doesn't speak Chinese.
Yeah,
she does kind of. She does kind of, but her identity is very much British.
I think if your mother's not from that country and always lived there, then you just say
she was born.
English.
Yeah, she was born in Hong Kong. She lived there till she was 7.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah. But again, I don't fucking bring it up. Other people bring it up, and then they throw it back at me. I'm like, you asked me, arsehole. I don't walk into a room and say,
ladies and gentlemen,
please. Yeah.
Here's my genetic records.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fake birth certificate. It's fake. He was born in Kenya.
Trump. He's going down in the polls, isn't he?
He did again. I was like, oh, that's quite a clever thing. Like in his weird fucked up way, his latest thing was like, we will defeat the radical left. And I thought, oh, that's quite clever actually for him.
Why?
Because everyone in America hates communists and is just terrified that communists are coming to destroy
they're not
the country.
doing anything. That's the point.
But they just say that people are radical left, and that's
you label people. It's like McCarthyism. Remember we did the McCarthyism podcast. Yeah. You just label people communists because no one really understands what it is or what they are, but they know it's bad. So you can just smear people with it, basically.
He's just a nothing con artist, isn't he? Just a nothing con artist. Got nothing inside him. Just talk, say things, and then move on to the next town. and sell your snake oil.
He's he did call Angela Merkel an idiot apparently and he's quite a few times he's called her stupid and all these sorts of things. Like, well, she has got a couple of PhDs, so I don't know.
You can say a lot about Angela Merkel, but I don't think I wouldn't say stupid, to be honest.
Yeah.
She comes across as being a very competent individual. Yeah.
It's funny because the Republicans are slowly starting to test the water to speak against him, because now they're sort of not getting in to their own local offices. So they're thinking, oh, hang on, this Trump thing isn't working. I might have to start distancing myself from him. And they will just sort of lightly dip their toe into, well, maybe he's not. Is it okay to get in?
Well, if he loses that election by a landslide.
They'll all be, every Republican will be like, I was the first to disown him.
Yeah, that's what
I was
I'm
the
saying,
first, yeah.
That's
It'll be like
no
Germany,
one wants to be
1946.
Yeah.
I was against him from the start.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, really? Because you were the head of the submarine thing.
No. You weren't seeing what I was doing behind
Albert
the scenes.
Speer, you were designing
you
designed Auschwitz, didn't you?
But it's funny.
I just built the motorways.
The cowardice just playing out again. We're right behind him. Yeah, Trump hate. Oh, well, I'm not so full of hate. Oh, well, I wasn't for him anyway. Like the same shit.
It's success, isn't it? Like the second he looks like he's not, it's not just steamrolling people and it's not all win-win.
But I'm looking forward to that point where one goes and then all the lemmings start to go, and see how he panics when he realises, oh, fuck.
Who was the? Yeah, there was the guy. There's a couple of guys recently, weren't they? They marched against him. They joined a BLM march and marched.
And this was Republicans, was it?
Yeah. A couple of the guys who ran against him. Forgotten his name.
What, Rubio? Cruz?
Might have been Rubio. Might have been.
There was a guy beginning with K.
I've forgotten his name now. It's a shame.
Who wouldn't go. It was like, you mathematically cannot win the thing. And he was like, I'm sticking around just in case. Because because technically at the convention, even though people have polled for, because they have this weird thing. Someone pointed this out and said that even if you win the college vote, actually, because the college then has to go vote for you, technically they could still tick another box. They just don't. So I think it's the same with the convention, that you have so many representatives at the convention, they could technically not vote for you, even though they have been told to.
I don't know if the Republicans do this, but I know the Democratic primaries, they have super delegates.
Yeah, that's the one.
Who have more votes, who effectively have more votes than other people. So it's stacked. It's weighed against.
Just means you only have to bribe a certain number of people. Like, it's less. You don't have to bribe everyone. You just bribe the super delegates. I mean, offer them positions within your government. Sorry.
Yeah, true. But it means that it's not solely on the votes of the party membership, and it's also stacked. So higher up members are sort of have a more weighted.
It is. I mean, it's all just like, you just go.
It's mental. The Electoral College is so bizarre. It's such a strange system.
When you look at it, you go, the what's the busting? No, what's it called when they design their own electorate, like local electorate, when they design
gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering,
yeah. You go, what are you talking about? How did this get in? What? Like,
you get that. I think Labour got quite a few accusations of that, didn't they? During Blair's years, there were a couple of times they redesigned some boundaries. They were like, "This is clearly gerrymandering." I mean, I think that was
they're
sour
doing
grapes.
it now.
Yeah, the Conservative. Everyone does it.
No, they're doing it now. They're getting rid of, or they were going to get rid of 36. I think they might have halted it slightly. They were going to get rid of 30 seats, and I think something like 23 of the seats were all Labour seats, including Jeremy Corbyn's Islington seat. Like, loads of the cabinet suddenly, for some reason, loads of the cabinet were going to be the shadow cabinet, Labour cabinet. Loads of Labour safe seats were going to be rolled up and split up into Tory safe seats. Funny how that worked out when they did the math. Just suddenly worked out like that.
Just poison. Did you ever see I'm not going to think of it. There's a film with Jodie Foster. Is that the actress?
Jodie Foster is an actress.
Yeah, Signs of the Lambs.
Yeah. She's a director now. She did a film called Money Monster. Yeah, did you ever see that?
No, is it good?
Money.
Yeah, it's all right. It's weird because it's about a guy. There's a financial channel on the TV, and there's like a financial celebrity guy, news guy, and one bloke turns up on set and he's got a gun, and he sort of holds him to ransom.
Yeah, I know.
And he says like, basically, like, I've lost everything because of some shitty financial transaction in the city, and I've got nothing, and I want to know where my money is or what happened. And they're just going, well, it's just the way it is. And the whole film is him basically going, no. I want to know who caused the problem and where it went. And as he goes into it, it's just like, oh no, there's a thing there, and then that goes into that thing there, and we have to go to that thing and to the bank, and then they do a thing with their money, and that goes through a computer, and then that, and it the whole way through he's going, no, I want to know where it, who and where. You're not talking in these terms, but it unpicks the fact of like some things are automatic, that systems are in place, computers are in place. There was a thing where. Oh, what kicked off? I can't remember when they lost the money, but it was basically because somebody kept their finger on the 0 button too long, and a few more zeros came up, and it just cascaded the problem. Yeah, like just too many zeros went on somebody's computer, and it just went boom, 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 and like loads of people lost their money at the end. But yes, a good film. She's actually quite smart. I mean, we was talking about the was it BAM and LBTQ?
BAME, yeah.
And they were asking her about. So how do you feel about the Me Too and everything like that? I'd forgotten about Johnny Foster till I saw some of her interviews, and she was saying, she said, look, we can't put everybody over 30 in jail, every male over 30 in jail, because they were in a bubble that they didn't know there was in a bubble. They didn't know things were, it was just the time you were being a bit more flirtatious, you were doing. She said, so we can't just jail every male over 30 because of things they might have done. She said, but can we just, all I want is, can we just stop it now? She said, that would do, I'll be happy with that. If we just stop it now, that's good. I thought she was talking about, I thought, oh, she's actually like, I'd forgotten about her. She's very smart, considering she's been around like the length of time she has. But now she's doing directing, but she's like big against the system and the money and all that sort of thing. And she was talking about, it's just, we've put in, she said, she was going on about when she looked into it, she was saying she couldn't believe that a lot of this stuff is they've literally designed it so that you don't know what's going on. The system's in place, then something else is put in place, and something else is put in place, but it's trying to create barriers so you don't know what this all is. You can't look at it and go, well, there's the money there, there's the money there. Oh, that's the problem. They've literally got things in place so you don't know whether you're coming or going, so you can't get involved. You don't know what the financial industry is doing. So when they talk to you, you don't feel confident in anything. They literally put things in place to complicate everything.
Well, so we're just talking toffee waffle, isn't it? It's either or, isn't it? It's either everything is either too technical with financial things, or it's deliberate ambiguity, as with the government's advice on coronavirus. Well, we said go to the pubs, but only go like this and do that. And no.
I knew a guy who I think I mentioned it before. Well, anyway, he worked in the city. He's one of his jobs he did, and he said all that stuff, the stock exchange and all that. He said it's so fucking simple. He said a child could do it. He said it's not complicated. You don't have to be smart. He said all you need to do is you need to be in, like, going to one of these stock exchange places, floors, be there for a week, figure out the terms that they're using to describe things. And they're basically doing fuck all. They're just moving numbers around. You're saying, well, that's being sold there, that's being sold over there. He said everything else has been overcomplicated because it's to do with, like, politics. They're all trying to make their own little deals within the system. It's a complicated thing. It's fairly simple. He said, you could go there, you learn the terms. He's shouting this, he's shouting that. Okay, I know what that means, I know what that means. The rest of the complication is people trying to make calls to go, hey, here, listen, mate, guess what I heard? Oh, guess what? Do you know what I mean? It's the people complicating it. But he said those jobs aren't complicated. He said they're very simple. It's just it's designed to be complicated so that you're kept out of your own money and all the con tricks that go on.
Like legalese, like legal speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to learn Latin.
Yeah. No, but if you read contracts and stuff, and and even laws. I mean, if you actually sit down and read like a bill or a law, they are written. They could be written in a much more simplified, easy to understand way. But there is it intentionally use obfuscation and odd language and subclauses. Party, the first party of the first part will be mentioned as the first part of the first part, and the second party of the second part we mentioned as the second party.
Well, yeah. So I remember somebody a few months ago said to me, "What does mea culpa mean?" And I said, "Why, you in some legal trouble?" I said, "Well, it just means like you're culpable." And I said, "Well, why don't you just say you're culpable?" And I go, "Well, yeah, exactly. Why? Because
so you have to pay someone £200 an hour to explain it to you, basically. Yeah,
to explain it back to you. Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, watch Money Monsters. Quite a good film.
Okay, yeah.
I'd also recommend. It's quite old now, and it does star Kevin Spacey. So I don't know if we're allowed to watch it anymore. But it's It's not just him. It's called Margin Call. So it's about the financial crash. It's sort of taking, it's not literal, but it's sort of, this is how these kind of things happen. Essentially, that a financial company finds out that all this stock it owns is basically because of some weird whatever, financial garbage, language, that it's basically worth something. It's worth, the loss is worth more than the company itself. So then they quickly have to sell off loads of these bits of this thing of all these stocks they've got
and make it look like they're not, basically.
Poison the system, because it's like, well, we'll take a hit, but at least we'll survive. And also equally we'll spread out the thing so everyone takes a hit, so actually we're all on a level. But then
one person would get out with their money, just close the door while it's burning down.
They do have the bit with the CEO who's something or other, I think played by Jeremy Irons. Like, he gets so serious he flies in on his helicopter just to kind of, and some people get fired, some get promoted, some get all that off sort with silence. It's really interesting.
All the city thing, the money, that I literally, I can't watch any of them films anymore. I can't watch them anymore. The double trading, the scam that went, and the person that, I just can't even fucking watch them. It's just because nothing's got solved. It's just, all you're doing is showing me another version. It's different if something's going to come of this film. We're going to expose. You go, no, it's just another film showing you what's actually happening. It's like, in fact, I heard a podcast. I remember about 5 or 6 months ago. They're not doing it anymore, but it made me laugh because it made me think of us, because it was saying, they were laughing, they were taking the piss. He said, when we started this podcast, it was supposed to be sort of like helping humanity out and fight. He said, but I feel all we've done is document the destruction,
the crumbling of Western society.
Yeah, we were supposed to change things, but we've just documented its downfall. He said,
we're just on the foredeck of the Titanic, going, look, the hole's getting bigger. There's more water coming in.
We must leave this. People in the future need to see this. That's what the show is.
Still, that band's pretty good though, isn't it?
Come on. But I always maintain the guy with the cello, he could have swam off on it, couldn't he? On his big cello. Could have used it as a club to fight his way to the lifeboat.
That was true, wasn't it? The band playing as it went down.
Apparently so, yes.
Supposedly.
I mean, that's got some, I was going to say some brass balls, but I didn't mean that to be a pun. That's an incredible personality right there. To be going.
That's some fine, stiff British upper lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to literally play when you're just about to die.
Not to kind of,
shall we just try and save ourselves? No, you missed the C. Go for a higher B. What are you talking about? I'm drowning.
I do, even though it's awful, and I don't know if
it.
it's true or not, but I do love that scene in Titanic where I think it's somebody who works for the company that sent the boat on. He sneaks onto a boat with the men, with the women and the children. He just kind of but it's the way he does it. He just he sort of sneaks onto the boat and just sits there looking dead ahead. And while all the officers are kind of glaring at him to get out the boat. Just the chutzpah of just I
think one of the years ago when I first started the podcast, it made me laugh. There's a guy who was a comedian.
Wait for a second. Sorry.
Go on.
Can you hear the ice cream truck?
No.
Oh, it's my mic isn't good enough. There's an ice cream truck that keeps going around. It's been going around all through lockdown. It's just who's...
It's just picking up prostitutes. And just
it's probably drug
money
dealers,
laundering.
It's probably drug dealers. But it's just really, do you want to encourage people to come rushing out their houses and gather around the window of your van to buy ice cream? It's just so strange.
There's one that goes around me. Well, it hasn't for a little bit, but it was doing it during the height of lockdown. It was, and I was just thinking. My only thought was, who has change?
Yeah, there's also that. Yeah,
because I swear he probably doesn't have a card reader. He probably doesn't. I'm like, who the hell has change? I ran out of change within about 2 weeks.
This could be that time they use this to get rid of the money. They could do it. This could be the big push.
Yeah.
Mm. Get rid of all that black market
Theo,
money.
Derailed your story.
Oh, I've forgotten about that now. that could be the thing to get rid of the black market money. This is the time. Look, we can't have that anymore. Markets, forget that. We need to know all that money.
But you'll still have. It'll be because I was thinking because I was like, how would people get past around that type of thing? How would drug dealers or prostitutes or your cash in hand window cleaner or whatever get around this? And I suspect they'll have top up. Well, they have top up anonymous top up cards, like phones or whatever. You know what I mean? Like top up things.
Or those cards you take on holiday, don't you? You can kind of preload them with the money.
Oh yeah. It'll be exactly. It's
Those
like
right,
that.
yeah.
Because I wonder if obviously yes for nefarious things people would want to keep cash, but if you have some kind of learning disability, for example, would you understand what card means versus what cash means? As in, like, could you see the difference of spending money? Do you know what I mean?
Well, something will just pop up separate. It will be like there will be a Bitcoin card immediately. Will just hit the market.
So I still don't understand Bitcoin. I'm like,
no, I don't. The Bitcoin mining and stuff.
Yeah, well, I understand it, but I'm like, but what does that achieve? Like the little like it's like, oh, it mines and finds the thing, but does what?
Well, no, the main point of it is to not be seen what you're buying or selling. That's the main point of it. So it's sort of, if you want to buy drugs online, then you use Bitcoins.
But doesn't kind of PayPal
servers,
does that?
Yeah, like
The what? Sorry,
doesn't like PayPal does that?
No, because they go. It's through that Onion Tor router thing, so it's anonymous. You can't tell where the money's come from or gone to. It's just you've got your wallet, which is ultra. Not that I don't know anything about this.
No,
you get a wallet.
Yeah, you can totally tell.
You get a wallet. I've read that you get a wallet that's encrypted. And you can't access it.
Oh, what else have you read?
I thought you couldn't read. I heard it. I said I heard it.
That's how I watched the video.
We finally caught him because he said I read it.
Oh, like a little rat caught in the corner. Hit him with we got him.
I watched it. I met this dude. That I worked with him a few times, and he said that his house.
He already sounds shady. And
I know. It's always like as soon as Charles is like,
I've got this friend.
Did the guy?
You didn't name him.
Whenever he starts any stories with, I met a person. I'm like, they're either going to try and fight him, fuck him, or like do something.
All at the same time.
It's always
hold me down and ram drugs in my eyes.
Yeah, it's always. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
No, you know it's going to be a good one. This guy, he said that his housemate was basically he was really into it was like Tor, it was like dark web shit, and he was getting loads of drugs sent there, and he's like, yeah, it just works. They were getting loads of like crystal meth and like coke and stuff just sent to his house just all the time, and like he had ordered a sniper rifle.
I'm sorry, what now?
He'd ordered a sniper rifle.
Oh yeah, like, that's normal.
Well, that's one does.
This is really dodgy. I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but he said that like, was it his housemate or his mate's mate? I think it wasn't his housemate. It was a mate of his housemate. So a friend of a friend of a friend of his. So it wasn't his mate was ordering loads.
You're
of
still
drugs.
going to get done under joint enterprise, Charles. That's not spurious enough.
His housemate was ordering loads of drugs, but I think his mate had ordered a sniper rifle, and he was sending it in parts.
Yeah.
Over the course of months, and he said that there was a guarantee on it that if any of the parts got stopped at customs, then he'd resend them.
Yeah, because the thing is, I've heard that it's basically reviews on there. That's how it polices itself. There are reviews. You leave reviews about the person you bought drugs or whatever from. But there's things on there. You get people assassinated and things, and it's all there. But anyway, yeah, I've heard.
There was
allegedly, we've heard.
I've never been on. I don't want to. There was a point at one point where one of the dark web services, the FBI had taken over and were actually running it for a couple of months.
Was that recently? There was that big drugs
a year or
thing.
two ago. No, that's a different one. That's the one recently. There was one about a year or two ago, 2 or 3, 4 years ago, and literally they arrested all the guys and kept it all secret, and they were still running the servers just to see where stuff was going, who was making orders, who was trying to do stuff, and they were trying to get all the connections, you know. But there has been that arrest recently in the last couple of days where this gang,
the mobile phone,
through the app, the government had hacked this app that was used by criminal.
I think the French government, wasn't it, got them?
Was it the French? Yeah, it was an international thing, and they had 850 people arrested.
Yeah,
some of them for ordering murders, and there was a whole bunch of gangland murders in Manchester and Liverpool that had been ordered over this app, and like all this stuff's come out.
People that
just like Uber kill, or something like that.
It was you could buy a phone basically for like $3,000 or £5,000 or £5,000 or whatever, and it was a private. The phones had been encrypted privately,
like a shadow phone.
Yeah, so you could basically do what you wanted on these phones and connect other people, and nobody could infiltrate it. And then somehow the French broke the encryption, and then just got all the people, like 800 people, just brought them all down. Yeah, too bloody right. Yeah.
But it was a whole international gang, and they were drug trafficking, weapons, people. It was all, murder for hire, everything. It was crazy.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, let's bring the show back up. Let's bring it back up.
No, that is good. That's justice. Justice is done.
Yeah. Which goes to show, ultimately, don't write anything down.
Well,
if you're going to be doing really shady shit.
The dark web, it's not drugs and guns. It was set up for free political speech, like in Russia and China and things like that. So it's got that, when they're organising rallies and things, that's how it was originally set up. And most of it is that. There's other little things that have popped up, like life. You do one thing, the internet, and then other people infiltrate it. But you half think, well, you sort of need that. You need to be able to have free speech. And if you need the Tor Onion thing. If you're in China or you're fashion, you need
just anywhere.
Half of it, the what was the Egyptian, the Tahrir Square? That was all rallied on the dark web. Like that's how then it went into social media. Yeah. So you need the government to be separated from but you need to have some sort of fucking freedoms. I know we're all
Arab
selling.
Spring worked perfectly.
But you need some freedoms, mate. I mean, I know with like selling our lives online and selling our DNA. Look, take my DNA for 20 quid. Isn't it fun? And you go, oh yeah. But you need some people with sense that say, look, maybe we should hide stuff from the government.
Yeah. Well, it was in Iraq. I swear, at one point in Iraq in the 90s, it was you got the death penalty for possessing a modem. I mean, that was the old days.
Oh, really? I just didn't want any
56k modem. They just like no. I mean, they didn't have the technology to police it or track it as much as they do now. So they just said, right, no one's going to have it.
Must have been harder then with a modem the size of like 2 bricks.
Well, you can't keep it quiet either. It's not
pillows
like you're
surrounding it.
Yeah.
Whenever you hear classical music playing, there's a modem there somewhere.
It'd be like in occupied Europe, Nazi Germany, when people used to listen to Freedom Radio and the Allied radio stations. They used to have to listen to it very quiet at night. They said because there were lots of people they didn't want the neighbours to hear, and they didn't want like the Gestapo guys walking around, the police walking around outside to hear that they're listening to London Calling.
Oh God. I heard something once on what's the BBC? Is it Desert Island Discs? Yeah, they talked to somebody about their life, and she was saying, I think it was during the Second World War. So I think her parents were like, well, her dad was Japanese American, something like that. But obviously, you weren't allowed to play American music in Japan at the time. And she said they had like this record player that they kept under the floorboards. And it had like American music on it, and they said every year. So her parents told me this. She was the kid. They would give the baby a little bit of brandy to sort of put them to sleep, and then once a year they would take out the record player from underneath and the floorboards and play like American music and dance together, and then put it back for another year. And I thought, oh, how sweet! But it's mad that you got to do it. You got to hide the American music. That's when people used to fall in love. You might not know about it nowadays. The
olden days when they were happy.
Before Tinder, this is pre-Tinder.
But it also just shows you that all of these things. It's just like that your everything. Your imperial Japan will crumble because someone listened to an American record. Or you look at these sort of extreme. Fascist. ISIS. Like the most terrifying thing to them is that a girl might read a book.
Yeah,
that was the Taliban. Sorry, rather the Taliban, isn't it? Rather,
it would destroy society if a lady's not covered up.
But that's the weird thing when Trump started going about build the wall. You sort of want to look around and going, have you read a book? Has that ever worked anywhere? Let's do them all. You go, no, hang on. I don't know. Like, there's 100% record of them never working.
The thing is, Theo, that no one else has built a wall like that because he's building the greatest and the best and the most tremendous wall.
Fence. A bit of a fence.
Yeah, basically. But it's the greatest fence.
I don't want to get controversial, but
do it.
I'm not in favor. I'm not pro wall.
Oh wow.
He's pro wall. He's pro wall.
No. But you said has a wall ever worked in history?
Is coming on.
Okay,
I think that the wall, and I don't necessarily agree with. I don't really have an opinion, I suppose. It seems to have worked, but the wall in Israel has greatly reduced the amount of attacks.
What? The amount of
the
tax?
wall that they built that huge wall in
yeah.
Israel separating Israel to Palestine. That has greatly reduced the amount of attacks.
Oh, attacks! I thought we said tax. I was thinking,
No. Sorry. No, it seems to greatly reduce the violence. So
that's,
I'm not saying
is
that's a good or a
keeping-
bad thing, but I'm saying that's.
I don't really know too much about that sort of. Is that to keep people out or to keep people separated? If you know what I mean.
Both, really.
So who
but
built
I
it?
think the Israelis did.
To keep out
it was to stop rocket attacks, isn't it? I believe, and also to stop weapons smuggling and all sorts, isn't it? Just to basically keep the Palestinians, keep the Palestinians,
separate,
herded in. Frankly,
yeah, that doesn't really work with the Trump thing, though. That doesn't make any sense because you want all the Mexicans in the country. They run the fucking country. They run it.
Well, it's also
it
also works because the Israelis have F-16 fighter jets and a missile defense system that can knock anything out of the sky, and they have tanks and they have nuclear weapons and they have all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like a brick wall doesn't
carry
serve any purpose. I mean, there's walls around houses and buildings for certain reasons because it does keep people out. But I mean, it's sort of socially.
Means I can walk around in my briefs.
and with the border wall and Trump's wall, isn't it? So it's something like, I think it's. But the statistics do range, but it's something like between like 50 something, I think high, like 47 or 48 or something, to like 65% of all the people who are in America illegally entered the country legally.
Yeah.
So all the illegal, half to 2/3 of the illegal immigrants in America enter the country through a legal port of origin. They just overstay their visa.
Okay, because I was going to say, I couldn't make sense. I was like, was almost like the 60% of the the it works every time.
Yeah. But they enter the country, they've either flew in or they just came across on, a passo or whatever.
But
you know
I'd
what I mean?
like it for all the Mexicans, because over here we've got all different countries that are historically not liked. We got the Polish, then it turns into the Romanians, then there'll be a new one. But in America, it's just Mexicans, so that it's very easy to hate. But I'd like the Mexicans to go, okay, right, we're off. Let's all go. Everyone get your bags. Let's go. And then just see the grass growing around. Who's cutting my grass? I need 50 Mexicans to cut my lawn.
But you say that they're like they've hated every wave of immigrants. They hated the Germans. They hated the Irish. They hated the Dutch. They hated
because it's
Spanish.
Because they are what they hate. They are the immigrants. So there's like anybody that you always got that inbuilt insecurity. If you're the one that's bullied your way in, you're always going to hate the people
they
behind you.
Particularly hated the people that were already there when they immigrated.
Yeah, let's clear out the people who were there.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's fascinating. If you read the quotes people wrote about Italian people in the early 20th century, sort of 1905, 1910, in New York, they were saying it's all the same crap that people are saying now. People say the same things. Yeah. All the time about just different people. It's just the people that it's all the same hate. It's just that the targets just change subtly,
Well, Trump is basically it's Germany. It's Hitler again. It's the start slowly, start criminal, start saying people are this and that. Let's get them out. It's their fault. You go. It's literally the same definition. Like the surrounding, the people that surround him to allow it to happen. The fence sitters, the media. You go. Oh my God, people are so fucking stupid. They really are. Oh, anyway, so we'll end it. Let's give us something good. Anything nice happening? Your frog in the back's got the ump. We can see.
He's a crocodile.
Crocodile. I mean, yeah.
I didn't even talk.
You've misspecied him.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I could get in trouble in the future. They'll bring that back up.
Yeah. When we're all trans species. Yeah. I watched on Disney Plus the musical Hamilton.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah.
So what's Disney Plus now then? Is this another like a Netflix?
It's streaming.
It's just for Disney.
Have people just got so much money? They're just one
Apparently
thing after subscribing to 10 different...
Charles certainly does.
What's this Disney? Is it kids' films then?
And Marvel and Star Wars, but yeah, unfortunately, mostly kids stuff. Like,
so you subscribe to a kids channel,
and Simpsons is on there.
And Simpsons, and it's got National Geographic. I was hoping they do all own 20th Century Fox's content, and I was hoping for a bit more of that, but no.
I suppose they'll probably stagger that, won't they? Because of deals, I expect they'll be waiting for things to expire.
I think they said, I didn't realize this, but they said they capped it to a 12. So anything over 12 rating.
So no Aliens, for example.
Well, yeah, which is a shame. I think all that stuff's still on Hulu in America and nowhere in the rest of the world. So
I suppose that's reasonable, actually.
So what's this film you're watching?
Have a password section. Have an adult section that you have to have. Where you can have all that stuff, but you just need to put in a password, so your kids can watch. Like Netflix has a kids section, doesn't it? It has like a kid filter.
But Disney are very much like
on brand. Yeah,
yeah.
But you should be able to have a 20th Century Fox button.
I know, but they would just, you can imagine in America in particular, I wanted my kid to watch Disney Princess, and instead they're watching this filth. This is destroying them. Yeah. I want the president of Disney to come out and commit harakiri, ritual suicide, and then I might be happy. And you owe me £12 billion for my trauma.
So it's mainly an under 12s channel, is it?
I guess so.
Yes, and for people who are young at heart, let's say.
Oh,
or the mental age of a 5-year-old, like this guy. But yes, Hamilton was the big Broadway and West End production that won all the awards, made stars of all the actors.
It doesn't sound very enthusiastic, does it? Yeah, I think I know where this is going.
was lauded critically, and this version is 2 hours 40 minutes long. All the reviews, it was very hyped. People were stoked. The tickets are 150 quid still, 200 quid. So I'm never going to go see it. And I don't want, I wouldn't bother to spend that much on a modern production. I won't bother. And all the reviews, I read all the reviews, read the Guardian, the Mail, everything, and they all say 5 stars, blow your way, amazing. Sat down and watched it. It is a rap opera.
Yeah, I had heard that.
How original.
Hip hopera, I believe. Hip hopera.
Hip hopera, yes. Of Alexander Hamilton, who is one of the founding fathers.
Yes, the kind of one. The whole point is that he's the one that gets forgotten about, isn't it?
Yeah. He's a guy I more for me. I know very little about, and after watching a 2 hour 40 minutes musical of his life, I still know very little about. And that was the problem with it, is that it felt at times like someone had made a musical out of a Wikipedia article with some of the facts here and there. It didn't get into the who this guy was as a person. I felt, you know what I mean? I never got a sense of who he was, and it just kind of was like, oh, he's doing this, and then he's off here doing that, and then he's doing this,
Frozen,
and he's written this essay, and then people saying he's cool. And literally the first 15-20 minutes are songs about just how amazing he is and how cool he is, and everyone just thinks he's just the boss, and all the ladies, he's macking on all the ladies, and I'm just like, this is like sort of a author insert fan fiction kind of thing. This is like a vanity project. It's crazy. So yeah, my conclusion was that it felt like what it was, which is a bunch of rap music written by some posh drama students, basically.
Oh God. And that was 2 hours 40 minutes.
Oh fuck yeah! And it felt it as well.
Fucking hell!
It's quite long.
Right, you reminded me of something which I wish you hadn't, because I was thinking I'm going to let this go because I can't be bothered.
Why would you do it, Charles? Why? Go on then.
But my evening was ruined. I was so pissed off with this thing that I had to talk myself down over the 24-hour period to let it go, and I forgot about it.
Yeah, to cancel that order on the sniper rifle on the dark web.
Yeah, no, I'm still waiting for the rest of the pieces to turn up.
Yeah, well, eventually. The guy sounds a good seller. He's got a 99% ratings.
Black Mirror. You've all heard of it? The Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
So I kept hearing about it. Black Mirror, Black Mirror, Black Mirror. Oh, you got to watch it. Oh, you got to watch it. That's a good. And I thought, fucking hell, right, let me just watch one of these the other night. It was so bad.
Was it the one where the Prime Minister fucks a pig?
Yes. So I was so annoyed that I thought, I don't want to ever speak to that person again who told me that. It's because I was so, I was like, Are you taking the right? So if you haven't seen it, so Black Mirror is this thing on Netflix, and it's like different shows, and it's all about something happens.
Yeah, it's an anthology.
The dystopian future, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. It's like Twilight Zone.
So I watched the first episode, season 1, and it opened, and it's a British Prime Minister, and he gets called down to the a video gets played to him in the middle of the night, and it's a princess who has been kidnapped, and they're holding her hostage. And I was watching it. The lighting was so bad or off. I thought they were trying to be quirky with the lighting. I thought, well, this doesn't work. That surely, okay, maybe it's like a dream sequence or something like that. No, that is the lighting. Then she starts talking like she's supposed to be on this video, saying she's been kidnapped and all this. And her acting was so bad that I thought, right, so this is like a setup. This is like supposed to be a dream sequence or something like that. Then she started doing this weird crying, which was like a student pretending to cry. And I'm thinking, right, so this is because I know I've heard about this. So it's supposed to be like all double meaning. So I'm thinking, right, this is definitely a fake scene. Like he's being tricked. This is supposed to be a fake scene. No. It's just she's shit. She's a shit actress. She's just crying pathetically. It's not even crying.
Sorry to the actress. I don't know who you are.
Well, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry because I was thinking.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, because I was watching it thinking, oh, it's supposed to be a smart show. So her being that bad of an actress is obviously on purpose. Like
I don't know why I tried to mitigate that.
Right.
Carry on.
And then it gets to the bit where they say, and I don't want to ruin it for people actually. So I say, have you both seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
Right,
I watched the first.
No, it's
series,
infamous. It's infamous. I don't think you need to.
Right. Yeah. So
worry about
she
spoilers.
then goes, well, to get me out of here, you have to go and have sex with a pig live on TV. And I'm like, okay, this is just stupid. But I'm thinking it's supposed to be a smart show, so I'm missing something here. So I'm trying to figure out like what it is behind it. No, that is the show. That's the thing. And then it's like, oh, some crap about his missus, and she's more embarrassed about it, people thinking he's going to have sex with a pig. Then he actually goes to do it. But he goes to do it because the woman that is in the Downing Street with him suddenly says, you have to do it because the Queen or something's got involved. And if you don't do it, I can't guarantee your safety. I'm thinking, it's not some bloke that's just walked in. There's a thing that surrounds the Prime Minister. And if you don't do it, also, I can't guarantee the safety of your family. You go, who is this fucking person? This doesn't make any bloody sense. What, she's just some sociopathic connected to the Queen. And then it's not like, oh, there's just one bloke. No, there's a political party around him. There is politics involved. It's not just like, well, some bloke. And then, we can't guarantee your safety. He's the Prime Minister. He could just order 100 policemen just to come in and protect. You can't go. And then he actually goes and does it. And I'm still thinking, this is like, I'm missing something. There's going to be a twist here. Because all this is so bad the whole way through. The acting, the script, the story, that there's going to be a final twist. And you go, no, he does it. And, the twist is that his political career actually gets fantastic, and he goes back to it. He goes, no, that would never happen. What are you talking about? And then it ends. I go, hang on. So that acting was actually real. That script was what they chose to put in the storyline, the pig thing, and the twist is the artist. This is the biggest load of shit from start to finish I've ever seen. You've done this badly on purpose. This is like a director who's been sacked, and this is his last show, and he wants to bring the company down. I'm going to make the lighting bad. I'm going to make the script bad. I'm going to make the acting bad. I'm saying, no, act like it's more pathetic. Act like you're a student. And that's the only explanation. So I'll never watch another one of them again. It's a joke that was allowed on TV.
There are some better ones.
I don't care. I was so offended by how stupid and pathetic.
I'm not a big fan of it because I watched.
Same.
I'm not even having a go at the fact that there wasn't a twist. It's the whole way through from the script to that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Why is that acting? I thought when the actress was crying, I thought she was gonna laugh. I thought, is that bad that she's not crying? That it just doesn't. It was just like, is this purposely bad? So anyway, it's a joke. That should never have been allowed on TV. I don't know how any of the producers or anything had anything to do with it. And that made it onto fucking Netflix. That pile of crap.
Well, it was on Channel 4 for a long time, wasn't it?
It was Channel 4 originally.
I
think they did 2 series on Channel 4, and then after that it's.
And I'm not being
Netflix.
fussy. I was
still going
genuinely watching it, going right. They're tricking me here, but no, it was actually ends, and you go, that is the most stupid. That's like a load of 14-year-olds were given a thing, they come up with an idea, and they haven't thought about anything, and it's all. I felt bad for some of the good actors in it. I thought, how have they got to read that? And that doesn't make any sense.
That's what I was going to say. Is that like it? I don't get the hype around it. There's people picked it up quite a lot, and I'm like, they're often like interesting ideas. There's often like a good premise or an interesting idea, but it's not It's not always fleshed out into an hour.
Yeah, I mean,
and maybe some of them will be good as a short, like it's a 10-minute short or a 5-minute thing. Interesting little idea, play it out. Okay, done. You're like, oh, that's like a short story. Yeah, that's all right. It's interesting, but like, I'm not sure often there's enough.
Yeah,
there,
and the thing is, they've got some good production. It looks like some money's gone into it, which actually heightens the shit. If it was less, like I said, if it was a 15-minute, slightly less better production, you go, that's a quirky little thing. But the fact they've actually spent money, and some of these actors, you could think, well, they've probably been acting for 40 years. They've got all the equipment. They've hired, closed off London Bridge and all that. You go, it just highlights how bad the script is, because you've spent money on something that's actually crap. But even the twist at the end, when they went, it was an artist, it was supposed to be his art was to get, you go, what are you talking about? The Prime Minister, not some bloke. It's just like, some bloke anyway decided to kidnap the princess, and he come up with all this elaborate stuff, and it's just some bloke who's an artist. And you go, what are you talking about? There's nobody behind it. It's just some bloke, and he did it for art. What? And then when the quirk is the Prime Minister actually becomes successful because of what he did. You go, no, that would never happen. That would never. It would be mocked. I was thinking to pull it back, which would have been a better storyline. Is he goes through with it, but then he actually ends up killing himself. Do you know what I mean? That he can't handle what he's done.
Shame, kind of.
That would make more sense. Well, he tried to save somebody, but actually he killed himself and lost his life because he couldn't handle what he'd done. I go, what do you mean the Prime Minister? You think the country would allow that? You think the political parties would allow somebody going to have sex with a pig? And you could have chosen any other storyline. It could have been something a lot less. But why did you go for the most ludicrous? Like, I would have been so, if I was a
Well, as it turned out, David Cameron did.
Yeah, I know. I mean, funny enough.
I was going to say, was that before or after that revelation?
It was before, and Charlie, because when that story came out, Charlie, the writer, Charlie Brooker, I think he tweeted something along the lines of, "I swear to God, I didn't know."
Oh, really? Oh, really? So he actually, okay, yeah.
He said it just like he just came out with this most outrageous thing, and I mean, for me with Black Mirror, I've not watched all of them. I think I watched the first 2 series. I quite enjoyed them, but it was just that thing of like, yeah, I don't get necessarily the hype, and maybe the ones that are on Netflix are just so much better, and that's fine. But it never became anything that I thought like, oh, I must see what happens next. You know, it was just, I think a big part of it was it's kind of a bit like I've said about that film Arrival, that kind of was very popular. The one about the aliens that come to Earth and they have to learn how to communicate. And I was like, and there's so many bits of watching that going, oh, that's from an episode of Star Trek, that kind of idea. And that's not to say it's a rip-off, but you know what I mean? But there are only so many ideas in the world, and so you have to, it's just about how you approach it and how you do it. And that was the same with Black Mirror. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit like, I feel like they kind of did something similar in Star Trek. Oh, they kind of did a thing in The Outer Limits about that. And I mean, not necessarily about fucking a pig, but just the idea of like someone having to do something extreme to save someone else's life.
Look, off the top of my head, you could have gone, there are all those mental tricks about who would you save, the 3 kids, or you could have gone, right, Prime Minister, blah, blah. They've got the money. Prime Minister gets called up. A room full of school children has been kidnapped, and he's got his political career on one side, or he's got to go and, he's got to do something bad on the other. So he's got to commit suicide to save himself, his family's dignity, or whatever. So you've got all these kids, or you and your career. You go, okay, there's something there that could be done. What would you do with political? Yeah. But he's sex with a pig, and the reason it happens is because some artist. And you go, this is like, what have you done here? How did this get past producers?
I swear that this is it's I think it's kind of loosely based on, I can't remember the name of it. I'm trying to remember the name, but the Grant Morrison comic from the late 90s. A similar thing, the Prime Minister gets turned into a pig, or has to get turned into a pig because of terrorism. And so he ends up just like looking like a pig with just like 6 tits and stuff, and like
yeah, that
really
in a comic
weird.
book, then you got magic. Yeah, that you can get away with that, but you can't make it a real sort of documentary with the police and the police vans going, and you go, and this ridiculous story jammed into it. It doesn't make. I just don't know how. Again, it's since we started doing like putting the pilot together, you start going, how did this get past the questions that you're asked? This makes no sense. Like this has got to be. Somebody's involved with it, or somebody's rich and they funded it to. There's got to be another. This can't get past the low level producers. Forget the executive producers and all that. How did this get made? In fact, with when we was writing the pilot, and it's a comedic thing, and I learned a lot from you guys saying about comedy, and you do this, you've got to do that, you can't have too much of this. So I figured things out. So now when I watch comedies, I can't enjoy them anymore because I'm thinking that's shit. That's not even funny. You're just saying stuff. And then how did that get onto mainstream TV? You can't go. Again, I think of the questions, but what do they do? Why do they do it? I mean, although I remember when I think I've mentioned this before, when Ricky Gervais, when he went to the BBC, and he said like if we hadn't have had an in, they were looking for somebody, that we weren't lucky, it would never happen, because you can't go a bloke that nobody likes touches his tie a lot and looks with a stupid face to camera. It doesn't work. And they said to him, well, look, why would people like this bloke? Like, how would he have a job? Like he's shit. How would he have a job? And he said, have you looked around the BBC?
Yeah, where have you looked around? Have you worked a job anywhere?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But when I look at things now,
So
I'm thinking, how the fuck did that? You've got to pass levels. You can't just come up with an idea and throw it on TV. It has to pass through hands and bank accounts. So how did that get made? So I'm actually pissed off that was so bad that actually got onto TV. Forget it then. The rules don't ever ask me about what your storyline is. Well, what are you talking about storyline? Have you seen Black fucking Magic or whatever it's called? Don't talk
Black
to me about
Mirror.
storyline. What was that storyline? I'm going to write that down. The Prime Minister has to have a pig and has sex with a pig. You go, get the fuck out of the office. Who let this bloke in? No, that's on that's on fucking mainstream fucking network.
It's like Thunderdome. There's no rules. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no rule. Don't ask me any questions. Right, I've got a pilot. Yeah, I want it on TV. Do you want it on your channel? Well, we need to make... No, you're not meeting me. Do you want it or not? Because I'm not answering any bloody questions until you explain to me that, and that. And once you've asked them questions, then I'll answer your questions.
I'm sure that meeting will go down well.
Yeah.
Two men enter, one man leaves. Yeah.
Well, this is a comedy podcast. This is an act, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a stand-up comedy. This is my art. Is actually to...
Yeah, it's all...
Yeah, oh, right. So we will end here. Give me something good. Come on, what's going on? What's happening?
Oh, Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested. Hooray!
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, she was the pimp for Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, the Epstein chick, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to get more revelation.
Is she going to kill herself with nobody around?
Yes, I think she's going to accidentally set herself on fire whilst dyeing her hair or something like that. Or
shot herself in the head twice.
Yeah.
Shot herself in the back of the head twice. Yeah,
double tapped herself.
Yeah.
2 in the head, 1 in the heart, or whatever, whichever way round it's meant to be.
Well, they don't care. They do it. Yeah,
of course they will.
Because they want you to know. They want you to know.
Yeah, he definitely didn't kill himself. Yeah.
Who was the guy?
We're all just going.
Who found about the weapons of mass destruction? The British guy went into the forest and killed himself. Do you remember?
Oh, he didn't kill himself. John Kelly.
Yeah, well, I
Dr.
think it was
John
it, where he said he cut his wrist and then he shot himself or something. And then,
he definitely was assassinated.
They looked at the body.
He finished the report, emailed it, and then went to the garden and killed himself. But
they said he cut his wrist and then shot himself or whatever it was. And they said,
oh, maybe it was David Kelly. I beg your pardon.
But they said, well, where he sliced his hands, he wouldn't have been, where he sliced his wrist, he wouldn't have been able to use his hands. Like to go, oh, well, he cut the muscles that connected the fingers, so he wouldn't have been able to do both. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. And his wife, he's depressed. He's like, no, his wife's going, no, he was not fucking depressed whatsoever. I think a lot of these times they threaten the families more than anything. I think that's the thing.
Like Godfather Part 2, yeah.
Yeah.
They give him
we'll
a
look
chat,
after your
yeah.
family.
Yeah. Because that's the thing is they don't even have to do stuff. They just threaten your family.
Well, even in that Black Mirror thing, they did that. Then they said to the guy, "Look, we can't look after your family, but we can't protect your family either." That's when you sort of push people over the edge.
Yeah.
So hang on.
So that's nice. We were looking for a positive to finish, and then we just always get
but yeah,
Then I got
one less dirty child trafficking pimp on the street is a good thing. I think we'll say.
Yeah. True. That's a positive. That's a win.
Something else. Go on. Something else. Film, music. Have you heard a nice bit of music? Andrew, what are you drinking now? So you got a nice glass of.
I was enjoying a White and Mackay, and if they want to sponsor the show, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's a whiskey. White and Mackay.
White and Mackay. Okay. Double?
Yeah.
Single?
Well, free pour.
8? No, I mean, there's a glass. Did you ever go for a double or did you go for a single?
Oh, I had a tumbler, yeah, but I just free poured. I didn't measure. You didn't measure when you're at home.
Just drink. Oh, no, it's a bottle I've got here.
Yeah.
No glass.
Exactly. Just a straw. That'd be fine.
You just think, oh god, this bottle's they must have evaporated. I don't know.
Exactly. Oh, this heat wave.
Yeah.
Causing my whiskey to evaporate.
I must open another bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on
just to test my theory.
Andrew's drinking habits, I think we'll end there.
Yeah.
And so
it's noon somewhere.
But by the way, we have lied to the listeners. We are not back in the office like we said we would be.
I think they do.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know if they would be able to tell the difference. And we were going to be back in next week, but we're not. So I think it's on the 19th. We're back in the office.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Some more fractured conversations. Next week. So that was the show. So there you go. So I won't list what we've gone through because it sounds horrendous. But basically, we've had a nice little chat there. And as the other podcast said, we haven't helped society, but we are documenting its downfall. We've seconded. Yeah. We've gone for second best.
We're just pointing.
Yeah. We're just letting you know how bad everything is. Right. So that's the show, and basically we'll see you next week. I've got nothing quirky to go out with. So
I just like that. That should be the new tagline of the podcast. Just letting you know how bad everything is.
Yeah, just the downfall of destruction. Watch us. All right, well, see you next week then. Cheers.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.